All right, so I am here. Hello, everybody in YouTube world, with Frank Payne of Living Art by Frank Payne, a good friend of Leap Habitats.
Yep.
In fact, if you go to any pretty much local show in the Pennsylvania area, you'll see him with our stuff. And we really wanted to come out here. He lives about 2 hours away from us, so we get to make the trip out here. It's always a very good day. So we came out today to do a little walkthrough of Frank's reptile room, show you some of the really cool species that he has, maybe introduce you to some species you haven't seen, and then also show you some of the species he keeps in Leap Habitats to give you maybe an idea of how you use them yourself. So we're going to start over in this corner over here, and we'll kind of start Frank's journey in reptiles with baby reptiles. So we'll start from the beginning in both places. So let's come on down this way. So the first question, you know, we ask when we do these and we talk to people in the industry is, you don't get to this point out of nowhere.
No.
So what was your start? What did you love about reptiles, and what got you into reptiles?
I mean, I've literally always loved them for as long as I can remember, growing up summers in Texas, catching little anole lizards and things like that. So I've always had them. Chameleons especially have been like just something I've always been fascinated by and loved. So I've always had a couple, and then it just kind of, like most of us in the industry, just snowballs from there, because I get to keep them, breed them, make a living off of it, and be around the animals I love so much.
So what babies do we have here? I know your thing in general is chameleons and
Chameleons and
geckos.
Yep, that's pretty much
which is obviously how Tim got to know Frank, because Tim is Mr. Chameleon and Gecko himself as well.
That's
so.
right, yeah. We like a lot of the same things.
What do we have through here?
So mostly we have carpet chameleons here. Mostly carpet chameleons, and then electric blue geckos up on the top here. I do have all the way down here some leaf-tail gecko babies all the way at the bottom. There's nothing in there, don't worry. All baby leaf-tail geckos, all baby electric blue geckos, and that's probably the species that really started me into realizing that, okay, I can do this as a small business because they're prolific, people love them, they're an amazing gecko. Then carpet chameleons after that, and I'll show you my blue tongue skinks. Those are kind of my big three. That really, mean the most to me, that I've been doing the longest. But then, of course, the baby leaf-tail geckos too. That's becoming more of a focus for me as well.
So we'll come out this way.
Yep.
I hope you can still hear me there, David. You mentioned the blue tongues, and I think you said earlier that that's what you have been breeding the longest.
It is. Yeah. This is blue tongue skinks, northern blue tongues. I would consider these my first serious pet reptile, because I had many other species. Come here, sweetie. Many other species before them, but this was the one where I first really did my research as a 12-year-old and got my first northern blue tongue skink. This is a female, pitch black northern blue tongue skink. This is what I'm probably most known for with the blueies, is selectively breeding for this beautiful black color. So this is an adult female. She is gravid just recently. She looks a little scuffed up right now, and that is normal for this time of year because she just got through breeding. So that's the little scuffed up scale patches. It looks a little rough. But that is natural for breeding. She will slough those marks off.
And how many of you had, if you had to give a ballpark estimate, how many have you had over the years?
I mean, hundreds for sure. The past 3 years, we've produced about 100 a season. I had a little bit more than this, but right now we're leveling off. We're going to keep 20 adults at a time. I think that's a sweet number for us.
So let's go over to the adults. It's a little bit easier to see them, obviously, than the babies, because they're in larger enclosures, obviously.
Yeah, we keep the babies in smaller things because A, they're smaller, and B, it helps them to find their food better. And the adults, we want to go bigger if we can.
Now I see a name that we know well, Tim Marks here.
Yeah.
So I know Tim and Frank got to know each other through this specific species right here.
Yep, exactly.
Tell me about carpet chameleons.
All right, carpet chameleons are one of the best species of chameleon to keep. In fact, I think they are the best species of chameleon to keep because of their size. Come here, sweetheart. So she's a little dark right now. It's still kind of cool and early in the morning here. But they can get really vibrant in coloration. But this is adult size. They don't get any bigger than this. So they are very manageable to keep. This enclosure that's 2x2 is a mansion for this species, whereas a larger species would be crammed into that. Plus they're just hardy and just beautiful animals.
And for those of you that haven't heard about the carpets and are starting to hear about it through us, number one, that's really exciting because we think it's a really cool species.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Do check the channel. There's lots more information on carpet chameleons. I think we'll even do a deep dive with Tim and some experts at some point. So let's move on to one of the coolest looking geckos you have.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the electric blue geckos I have all in here. Like I said, this was the species that really got me going into breeding reptiles on a larger scale. These guys are bright blue as males. They are critically endangered in their native habitat in Tanzania, a tiny little forest. So it's just, they're a great species to breed, and they're like one of the best display animals that you can have.
And it's also great conservation-wise because they are critically endangered. So being able to breed them in captivity helps keep that
Absolutely,
species going.
And this is the only way you can get this species at this point. You are not able to get these from the wild anymore because of deforestation and over-collection. So now I'm very happy to be producing so many. The thing that I'm probably most proud of when it comes to reptile breeding is this species, because I have produced over 1,000 of the Lygodactylus williamsi, several hundred a year, and that's not going to slow down. If anything, that's going to increase, because they are definitely, like, if I had to pick one, they would be my passion project.
Let's come over to this side over here. You have some really cool chameleons in here as well.
Yep.
Maybe at some point in the future we'll do a real long deep dive, a nice hour-long video. But this is more the introduction to Frank and introduction to his reptile room. So let's keep moving over onto this side.
Sounds good.
What do we have here?
So here I have some blue beauty anoles, and I'll show you some bigger ones later. I got some baby ones in here. They're one of the rarest, most beautiful anole species. Then we have carpet chameleons, leaf-tail geckos down in here, crested geckos, green tree skinks. Everybody loves those. Take a peek in there real quick. They're real personable little lizards. There's a group of them. He's on top of the cork there, kind of hiding. All right. Gargoyle geckos.
So the gargoyles, we just learned a little bit about them. Number one, we had heard of them. Obviously, we'd seen them, and Tim found out something. Tim's here with us today too. Tim found out why they're actually called gargoyle geckos, which is kind of fun. Now we get to learn together.
It's pretty cute. They're pretty cool. The reason why they're called gargoyle is those bumps right there. And this is actually not super impressive in terms of gargoyle head bumps, but there are some that have really strong, and that's part of their skull, really strong protuberances. This is an adult female. She's fired down. They do change color a lot, just as much as chameleons, really. So she's very pale because she was sitting out in the light. At nighttime, she would be much more red than what we see right now. An awesome species. Look at those beautiful eyes. So cool.
Moving on to another one here quick before we move on to some of the stuff you have in leap habitats.
Yep.
These guys I had never seen before.
Yeah.
And they're really cool because they're small.
Yep.
And they're, you said, relatively easy to care for.
Very.
And they aren't really big, so you might be one of the only people out of your friends group of reptile keepers that has them for
sure.
right now.
Yeah.
So what are they?
These are called scorpion tail geckos, or Prestoris carteri. These are a desert species from the Middle East, and they are, and I've worked with a lot of species of geckos, they are the calmest, most tame species of gecko I have ever worked with. At nighttime especially, I'll put my hand in here and they literally crawl up on my hand. They have amazing tails, and the males will wag those around and wave them about. I got a pretty cool video on my own YouTube showing
dragon
that.
Tail.
Oh my god, they're just incredible. This is full size. Keep them hot, keep them dry, feed them some insects. They breed like crazy. The females lay an egg a week, and they're just like the perfect little pet gecko.
The 5 parameters on these guys isn't particularly difficult to cover compared to some more difficult species. So you can put those 5 parameters that we talk about in our 5 parameters videos and all of our stuff that we talk about together for these guys relatively easy. And you do still have a misting system.
Absolutely. And a lot of people overlook this when it comes to desert herps, but that's a mistake. You know, and the only way this animal is going to get water in the wild is morning dew and some condensation that occurs overnight. So that's a very normal and natural thing for them to get, often overlooked with desert animals, but a very important source of hydration.
Very cool. Check out more of those guys, and you do have a video on your own
I do, yeah.
YouTube
just posted
channel.
one on how to keep and breed them. And
So,
I do think
there
they're
you
going
go.
to take
Lots
off.
more information there. Well, let's come around to obviously our favorite part, considering the shirt I'm wearing.
Yes.
So these are prototype habitats that Frank got from us a little while ago. He was one of our test beds. We said, you know, we don't want to just rely on our own reptile room. Let's get people who have been doing this, breeding, doing this for a long time involved as well. There's some cool features I want to talk about that he's done with his leaf habitats. So if they look a little different than your production ones, it's because they are the prototypes. But it's a great way to show this. So what do we have in them, and how are you using it?
So if you come around, these are these top 2. I have 2 pairs of blue beauty anoles, Anolis equestris hodioor. This is about the rarest species of anole that you can get.
That is not your green anole from PetSmart.
No, they are not. They come from one small island off Cuba, and they're just absolutely gorgeous animals. And believe it or not, this is them looking their worst. It's winter time right now. They got a little bit like the whole winter blues. So they tend to not look quite as good in the winter, I think. But in the summers, out in natural sunlight, man, do they just fire up incredibly. But again, fully planted, bioactive, living plants, strong lighting. automatic misting. So my maintenance with these animals is minimal. It's really feed them, and that's really all.
And I noticed you don't have our leap lights on it yet.
Not yet.
We'll get you those.
Not
They
yet.
will be in
Soon.
the next video, I promise.
Soon.
Then down here, Jackson's Chameleons.
Yep, Jackson's Chameleons. He's on the ground right now because we just had him out, so he's a little bothered, I guess, but
Little disoriented.
because we were just showing him off a few minutes ago. There he is. He's an incredible animal. I don't typically hold him. I just want to give you a better look at him. He is very relaxed and calm. But like all chameleons, they don't really want to be handled. They mostly just want to be left alone.
And how do you find they do in a habitat of this size?
This is good. Obviously, when it comes to most reptiles, bigger is better.
Sure.
But this is a solid size. It's basically 2 feet long. I think this is about 30 inches tall. So this is solid. This is bigger than what a lot of people keep them in, which is like an 18 by 18 by 36. But yeah, absolutely.
So the larger sizes will be better once we start having the even larger sizes.
For sure. Like this works just fine. This is okay, but certainly bigger would be better.
Bigger is better.
Always, if you can.
And you notice too, he's running through the top there. He's running his missing system right in the top of the terrarium.
Yep.
And then has it even coming down. So that's something that we haven't shown on our videos before. That's a really cool.
That's just a little DIY hack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, it's just like a cost-saving thing until I get some more leap nozzles. That's just like an easy way to do it.
And talking about DIY hacks, if you will, a lot of people have been asking whether or not we do backgrounds. So in terms of putting cork on it.
Yep.
Tell us how you did it on these.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of talk about what we just talked about.
Sure. So these are just flat cork panels, and what I've actually done, because the leap is Uroplatus, it's usually worked with, I just screwed through the outsides of it into the cork, and so it's very secure.
And that's something you can do with this versus glass.
No, yeah, you're not putting
glass.
a screw right through there, and like not anything special, just boom, right in, cut it to size.
Sure.
Fully planted, got some beautiful branches up there, and I have leaf-tailed geckos in here.
Come up and see that.
Yeah.
Get out of your way.
Well, here especially, here's a good one. Right there. There she is. She's right out in front. This is a mossy leaf-tailed gecko. Easy to see where they get that name. Just masters of camouflage are just awesome.
And Frank, how long have you had these set up? A lot of people have been asking how they hold up over time, whether or not you're having any damage issues, stuff like that. Obviously, with the lightweight designs, people may think, oh, it's lightweight. How long have these been set up?
These have been set up for over 6 months. Over 6 months in fully tropical, misted every single day, UV light, heat lights with the anoles, and this is the way they look. They look beautiful after over 6 months.
And we've had some set up for years, a year.
A year, yeah,
a solid year.
And even the Jackson ones, I take that to reptile shows. With him in it, fully planted, I pick it up, I carry it to reptile show, I bring it back, and it holds up just fine.
Yep. So overall, you're happy with the way that they've worked out for you. Obviously, you've helped us. I mean, it's a silly question to ask because you've literally helped us make design changes and figure out better ways to use it. But
yeah, of course I love it. I can't wait to get my hands on some more. And eventually this whole wall is gonna be nothing but leap. Can't wait.
And then hopefully more than that.
Hopefully more than that.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us for Frank's walkthrough here. I'm sure we're going to do a full in-depth one. Like I said, this was kind of the teaser video, get you interested in Frank and Living Art by Frank Payne, and how we've been working together. We'll post a much longer video at some point where we go way into depth on all the species. Hope you guys liked it. Obviously, check out more of our stuff. We'll have Frank in it in the future. See you guys soon.
Thanks.